Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are so excited to have Mayra Juarez here for our Bella interview with her business, May Crazy Lifestyle. Welcome, Mayra.
Yay, gracias for having me. Bravo.
Yeah, we're so excited to get to know you a little more and for you to share your story with those that are listening. And let's just dive right in. Let's just get started with the first question. And it's really an open question. Like I just want you to kind of tell us a little bit about you. Like who is Maida? And well, we'll get to your business in a little bit, but tell us a little bit about you as a person.
Like all my friends are gonna say, es una loca. Es una traviesa loca. Así soy juguetona. Like I love being outgoing. I was never like that. I was like as a young girl, I was quiet. I was very shy until I went to Spain when I was 19. That's what opened my eyes. And the people over there are so loud and love to party. So I think I became like them. And I was just very timid, and so little by little life experience opened me more, and now I'm fully who I am, as loud and happy, and sending a lot of chingona vibes as all the time. And also as well, what helps is I'm from Zacatecas. I actually was born in Ventura County, born and raised, and there's a lot of like Latinos over there, so I grew up in the whole Latino community. Back then used to be a lot of strawberry fields. So my parents used to work in the strawberry fields. My mom used to work in the flower plant. So I grew up with all that, with, one little apartment with a lot of family members. And I grew up with that family, loved, and we were always helping each other out. And as well, when we would go to Mexico, we would go by car, and it would be like three or four cars following each other. And then Christmas. I basically like got raised by in the rancho. So like la India María, no soy de aquí ni de allá. Pero soy de todos lados. I'm like everywhere. And I grew up in like all Spanish household, but in school was English. And I remember that back then like a lot of the white girls used to make fun of me, and I
Yeah.
would not let them. I would just actually fight with them. And my dad actually showed me how to box when I was younger. So,
Oh, wow.
so I'm actually boxing now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, with Mika Fitness. Shout out to Mika Fitness.
Wow.
So I'm a boxer. And then I grew up in more like in the Chicano movement, and like trying to find more it's like more like finding our heritage and classes
Yeah.
to our history, because to tell you the truth, USA history very bored me, and I always wanted to know more about my heritage until I found out like there's this teacher, Mr. Gomez, who would teach us art, and he will mix our history, like Dia de los Muertos,
Mm.
and how important it is to remember your loved ones. And when I get to college, it was Mayo de la Rocha, who teach me about my history, and I was more passionate. So, I was more into like Chicano studies and like activism. So you'll know why my business is about activism, includes it. And just, I'm a very passionate person. So that's where mostly like my inspiration comes from my family, and from my teachers that showed me the history of Chicano studies.
Yeah. Well, and that's really important, the fact that you seek that out, right? A lot of the times we go through life and we're just kind of going through the motions and things that we're surrounded with in our environment shape who we are and how we think, but sometimes we don't have the full story or sometimes we don't like I don't know, we don't fully feel like we own our identity, if that makes sense. And I think it takes this like path to discovery, like self-discovery of who we are, our family, where they came from. And the fact that you kind of like took on that initiative and were really curious about it and seeked it out and didn't wait for someone to give it to you. And you're like, no, I'm going to learn. I think that's like super amazing. And yes, you are a super passionate person, and that's a good thing. To go in with so much energy and love into that is so beautiful. Now you could share that. you could share that with others, with your friends and your neighbors and your familia. And so a beautiful gift. Thank you for sharing that and walking us through that. And actually you said how you kind of infuse that into your business, right? So tell us a little bit about May Crazy Lifestyle. Like what is it? What's it all about?
So make crazy lifestyle, you could say get to like your crazy lifestyle, but it's like me, May, because mi vida loca was taken. So it's make crazy lifestyle like me, May as Mayra. And everybody calls me May because my birthday's in May, but May make crazy lifestyle like the lifestyle that we lived in, like I lived in. It was inspired by like me. I had a car accident in
Mm,
2011, and
mm,
it was a very bad accident that led me to have a spinal fusion surgery. So I wasn't able to, I was losing mobility to walk. So after the surgery, I wasn't able to walk. So I had to learn how to walk. And it was very, very difficult because the doctor said that I would be able not to walk, or, it's always about me. So I was stuck like, like Frida Kahlo. I I entered channel her spirit, and I'm like, oh, if Frida Kahlo could do certain things in bed, I can do it. So how she did paintings, I
mhm,
did sayings like affirmations. So I
mm,
would write affirmations, and then I would design shirts, and I would put them together like, be you, be bold, be a tigress. Ser tú, sé atrevida, ser una tigresa. It's
mhm,
basically not to let yourself, not to give yourself, not to give up, and to like be like a tiger, because tigers and tigresses are fierce. And so to be a fierce tiger, and then be you, that's the most important, to be yourself.
mhm,
And I would try to write things to motivate me and be able to like dale, como dice, dale muchas ganas.
mhm,
And so that's where my business started, with writing affirmations. And I said, if I can write affirmations and put them in shirts, that would motivate women, especially like I put two and two together, like all the like the things that I've gone through with my like activism,
mhm,
like putting some sayings, especially like my inspiration has been from Frida Kahlo to Dolores Huerta. I made a shirt where si se pudo, si se puede, siempre se podrá. And basically, I took Ara Si Se Puede, and it's to the new version of what we're going through. Like, we have to be positive, and we live in a crazy world, and we have to take that crazy world and to make it to positive, make it our own world, and make it into empowerment. Because there's so many things that, are going on, but we have to remember our history of, from like, the Zapatistas to like the Mexican Civil War. Like, we have to remember all that, how like the Adelitas, the women warriors, were
mhm,
fighting that war, and we have to channel that to now, and fight the injustices that are happening in our world.
mhm.
So
Yeah, yeah, and I love how you used your experience, your personal experience to shape your business and to give you strength to get through what you were getting through. And now you're sharing that with with the world and in a time that we need it the most. I think it's the seed was planted like you said. It sounds like when you had your accident and you were, had some time to think through like how is this what's going to help me? And I don't know if you knew back then that, fast forward, now we're in a time where all of us need that similar inspiration, right? To get through sometimes the days or the weeks. And so your business has become like a very powerful um like empowerment tool, I'll say, like for others, right? And I think that hopefully that inspires you to keep going in your business. Tell me a little bit more about like you mentioned the word activism, and I'm deviating a little off the script now, but it made me think about like folks define activism differently, right? Like, what does activism mean to you? And how do you kind of live through your business, live that through your business?
When I was younger, I witnessed a lot of injustices and
Mhm,
I just couldn't sit down. So I organized in my community in Ventura County, Oxnard.
mhm,
And so what we did is that we did Know Your Rights.
mhm,
We did workshops from parents to the young adults. We work with young people from high school, all the mechas, like high
mhm,
school, college. We empower the people not to be afraid of like police because back then the police were asking for like identification to know your immigration status.
mhm,
It's kind of familiar with what's happening right now. So we acted as a community and we organized and we protested. And it can be there's so many different things to do like activism because there's some
yeah,
that just go for it and like write on the walls and stuff like that. Or there's activism where you organize in the community. And
mhm,
that's where I come from. Like I organize in the community. I'm more of a person that likes to inspire the young. I always
mhm,
have because I was that person. I was very, very young that my professors and my elders inspire me and I want to keep that generation because I feel like we're forgetting where we come from and our history. So now that I'm that generation of like the older, I know I don't look like it, but I am. I want to inspire the women and men to their history and as well more like I feel like we need that. Like sometimes we are so focused in the things that are going on and we don't take care of ourselves and we don't like see like okay what can I do what there's so many things you can do, like even like repost now that we have Instagram, repost, do like a little like a workshop or like help like the loteros, like pass out cards to the loteros. Everything's activism, doesn't have to be major. And one little part can do more than anything, even getting all the information out. And especially even like the young people that don't know about their history because they don't know about like taking classes about Chicano
mhm,
studies. And that's what we're trying to fight for more, for like to get more information of our history. So we know and then we can prepare ourselves not to happen what's going on right now.
mhm. I love that. I love how you're intertwining your activism with your business, with your personal experience, and people rally around that. I think people really feel a connection to you and to others that are doing similar work. Um, in terms of like when you were young, so I know you talked a little bit in the beginning about your childhood and kind of growing up, but did you ever in your wildest dreams think that one day you would be a business owner, that you would be an entrepreneur? And do you see kind of like some of the qualities that make you successful in your business, like when you were young? Do you see like a connection between having that like entrepreneurial spirit?
It's funny that you asked that because I grew up with seeing my dad hustle. Like
Mm,
my dad has a produce business and I was supposed to go to the produce business way and I didn't. And the way how it led to was like first I was seeing my dad how he would go on his white truck, beat up white truck, and sometimes my parents couldn't even afford a babysitter or didn't have anyone to watch me over. So my
yeah,
dad would take turns like I'll take care of her and I would go with him and I would see him how he talked to people and
yeah,
the way he hustled. And I guess that stuck to me, like the way how
yeah,
he hustle and the way how he talked to people. And customer service for me is like for me it's like it's top priority, like to help people. And I guess seeing that, like I never stopped working because also my parents are workaholics and I'm like that too. And that's not a good thing because I learned that we need to take rest for ourselves, for
mhm,
our mind and body.
yeah,
And then when I got older, I dated someone who was in the music business, and I didn't want like I kind of didn't want him to control me, and he was trying to control me. So when he broke up with me, I got an idea where I was like, if I promoted him, I can promote anyone else. So I hustle and I managed to manage a band, a rock and roll band. Back then it was um rock en español, but I
Yeah.
guess before COVID, but now with COVID, it just, disappears slowly. I mean, we still have Maná and Anitos Verdes. But after that, like I started like promoting bands, making shows, and next thing you know, I was like, I'm hustling, like, whoa, what's going on? You sometimes you do things and you don't even know you're doing it. And I was just hustling, hustling until I end up moving over here to LA because I'm normally from Ventura County, and normally everybody when they move out, they move out when they're married or whatever. But I moved out to LA to be in the music scene because
Oh,
that was my passion to be a promoter, a manager. And I ended up doing an internship with Universal Music back then when we had CDs.
oh, cool.
So it was so cool because I could go to all the free concerts they had. And I ended up getting a show on Mundos. Back then it used to be Mundos. With a lady named Rebecca Leon who used to manage she did shows like with Mana and she used to manage Rosalia. And we did a show together and it was on TV and it was very, very like, wow, I finally made it until the accident. That's when it happened, or I can't do the things that I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
like back then, like hustling with Frida, she couldn't do the things she wanted to do, but she said I have to help my parents. So she started doing like the paintings, and
Yeah.
for me it's like I have to do something because if I can't get out of this bed I have to hustle. So that's where the whole idea of I guess maybe being in bed and motivating myself got me to doing clothes. And I never was like, oh, I'm gonna do clothes someday. I mean, yeah, I designed shirts for the Barbies when I was younger. So it's kind of like, hey, I'm like thinking about it right now. I'm like, hey, maybe it's meant to be,
Yeah.
because I love all that fashion. I love all like the quality, like to make it you feel soft, comfortable, but empowered.
Mm.
So it's just for me now that I'm doing all these designs, it's like I see a lot of the women with their more comfortable and the sayings and when they wear my shirts and they're like have that happy smile on their face, it's like, thank you. Like,
Oh,
that's like everything, like 10 times. Like just seeing them happy and inspired by the shirt and what inspired me now is inspiring them. So
yeah.
especially I made a shirt with Frida Kahlo. Enamórate de ti, de la vida después de quien tú quieras. And all the designs are based on something that happened in my life. So a lot
Yeah.
of women can relate because, you have bad in my life, I had a Diego, but I didn't want a Diego. So like, no way. So
Adiós, Diego.
yeah, I mean, everybody can relate. All of us
Yeah.
had a Diego in their lives, and we're so drawn to that like player, toxic man, and that's why I was like, oh, that shirt is so perfect for everybody that's been in a bad breakup. So it's kind of like enamórate de ti de la vida y después de quien tú quieras, because it's like fall in love with yourself. You're the priority. You're love, and then fall in love with life.
Yeah.
Life is crazy, but it's beautiful. And, fall in love with yourself in life and then whoever you want. And that's what I also want to show the women to fight for themselves and not let anybody or anything dim their light.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful, and it is, and it's just so much more powerful knowing kind of the like how you manifest your through your business, right? So you're wearing the shirt, and like everybody can identify with it in their own way. Everybody can probably look at whatever that affirmation or that quote is that they choose, and there's a story behind it, so that like all these stories, all these personal stories are bringing women together through your brand. And that's like super amazing and just inspiring in and of itself. But I know that, wearing that sometimes on your chest, whatever message it is, like you feel taller, you can stand taller, or it's a reminder, or brings back a memory, or I mean, there's so many things. Words are just so powerful.
Yeah.
So,
Like this one, preciosa y chingona como mi mamá. Inspired by
oh,
Mother's Day.
I love it. Yeah, that's great. It goes with the theme of May too.
Yeah, man.
And so you talked a little bit about this already, but can you dig a little deeper into like your purpose of your business? So, you talked about the concept, how you kind of got started, the why behind it. What's your kind of bigger vision when you think about May Crazy Lifestyle? Like, what do you see? What would you like to see happen as a result of your business in like 5 years or 10 years? Like, where do you see yourself with your business?
What I see myself, my mission is basically like to inspire Chicana, BIPOC women and providing stylish, high quality apparel to celebrate their cultural, straight individuality. Um, I want also to build workshops. I've already been doing it with what I have learned from other people, other community, like self-healing, like sound bowl and nature. So I work with Mija Fitness, and what we do is we take the girls in hiking and I let them to hike. And then at the end we do sambo. So it's more of like them getting inspired by nature and using nature as like a place for them to heal. And that's what I want to push my brand to find people, and also for like me, like to do like inspirational hikes to women so they can
Mm,
heal. And I just want my brand to push more of like helping women in the community and being more like a guerrera poderosa. So I see more of like my business not only like selling shirts to inspire women, but also building connections and building community and workshops to help young women to heal. Because, as younger, we are so used to like the cultura, how we're like, don't say anything, don't, quédate calladita, no llores. And I want to promote to like have women to cry. It's okay to cry, right? Like feel Pachamama, love nature. Like, it's okay to take time out for yourself, and say what you need to say. And that's what we need to push young women to be themselves. So that's not only do I want my brand to be known, but as well, I want to build community and heal
mm,
young women. So
mm.
that's my goal as well.
I love it. That's so beautiful. I just feel like everything you're saying is resonating.
You
I
know,
feel
I mean,
like
yeah, especially because, I can relate to you a lot because you inspire women and you inspire me in the workshop. And I was just like wanted to cry when like my inner niña, like, like I wish I would have like found you sooner because like this is so inspiring, like women, like helping women and, pushing you to be more better and knowing the rules of the business, because a lot of people take advantage of that. Like they
Mhm,
take advantage of us like being, vulnerable.
mm.
And I feel like you're like the guerrera poderosa, like training us to be guerreras poderosas as well in the business industry.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Maida. I mean, you all inspire me. I draw inspiration from you all, and you just sharing everything you've shared, and you sprinkled like so many golden nuggets throughout this conversation. And overall, it's been a very inspiring conversation with you. And um, I love how you're weaving in history and experience, and you're kind of channeling that energy through your business, through how you talk about your business and how you talk about yourself. I think that's really important too. And so, with having a business and starting out comes with challenges and struggles, right? So you shared some of your personal challenges you went through, like with your accident. Um, and thank you for being vulnerable with that and sharing your story on that. In terms of like your business specifically, like what have been some of those, what have felt like barriers that you've encountered as a business owner, and how are you either working through them now or how have you kind of worked through them if they've been resolved?
For in the beginning, I was so like inspired and like I didn't want to like plan. I just wanted to do it. I just was like, I have this idea, I just want to do it, but I didn't like sit down like, oh, this is the A, B, and C. I
Mhm,
just was like, let's do it. I'll,
mhm,
I'll go along the way. And I made a lot of mistakes that really cost me. And
Mm,
actually, also I use a lot of my money that I won from the case.
mm,
And of course, like every business owner, you gamble, and sometimes you
yeah,
lose some and sometimes you win some.
mm,
And I feel like it was either or, but the thing is, like, I struggle a lot because mine is like finding the material, like the clothes, like finding a place where they talk to me, especially being a woman was very a struggle because I were the place I went in downtown, it was all men, and they wouldn't even pay attention to me. They wouldn't even talk to me unless I had someone come with me. I had to ask my friend Ramiro, who also has been helping me a lot, come sometimes to be next to me, and they would talk to him. So
wow,
it's basically a lot of like machistas out there,
mm,
and it's very, very hard to make business. And you as a woman, like, hey, I have a business, I have money, like, talk to me, like, I need that,
yeah,
so that and finding places like I I feel like if I would have like done more research, I probably would have found you sooner, Rocio, because I really needed what I took from the class. I really, really needed this before because there's so many things that I didn't know,
mhm,
and I wish I had that. So that was the struggle, like rushing, and as
mm,
well like people not be able to talk to you because of my gender. So
mm,
unless, I found another woman that was like me who, does printing, and she was able to help me. And then from there, I was able to like find my ground, because it's like when you start a new thing, is you start all over again. Like, you go to a
yeah,
new field. Like in the music industry, it was the same thing. It was all
mm,
male dominated, not a lot of women back then. Not like you would not see women do that type of, job. So you
mm,
were really had to be like very male dominated. And it was more like for me, like I would forget, I was like a female because I was always around men. So
yeah,
like in here, it's another field where
mm,
you start all over again. And, I feel like I should have done more of a research and taken my time and, ask around, especially us. Like we're so proud that we don't ask for help. So
mm.
asking for help, that was like very important. And now that I found the help that I need, is like now I'm asking or doing research, and now I have so much to do. So it's like I'm very, very blessed to have the people like you and other community that has shown me the way. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, and it can be intimidating, right? You start to question sometimes yourself, like, am I in the right space? Like, what did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? How can I? And it's not you. It's the unfortunately the environment that we're in sometimes supports these social barriers that we encounter or discrimination or these feelings of like we don't belong in certain spaces. And it's easy to say like just stand up and advocate for yourself, right? But it's a lot harder sometimes to do that when you don't have the confidence or maybe you just feel unsure in that environment because like you said it's new to you. So when you're kind of walking new terrain, sometimes you're, well, I don't know what questions to ask, right? I don't know who to go to or who to turn to. So it could be a very scary place. And I know a lot of women who are listening right now are completely relate to that because that is a common theme that I hear a lot is, I didn't want to ask for help or I didn't know where to go or I was turned down, right? And one experience can have a very like damaging effect, I think sometimes on us, right? Depending on what it is. But thank you for sharing that. I think it's important to lift it up and to talk about it openly. And for women that are listening, to know that they're not alone. That unfortunately, this is something that happens often, but it doesn't. We don't have to normalize it. There are ways to kind of overcome that. So thank you for sharing that. And I don't definitely don't want to end on the challenges and the struggles part. I want to end on like an uplifting. This has been a very uplifting conversation. So I want you to kind of share what your words of wisdom, your advice, your tips to Latina entrepreneurs that are either just starting out with their business or thinking about launching their business. What would you say to those women?
so if you want to start your business, I would say take your time. do some research. Um, and especially I found out that there's places out there that are nonprofit that can help you with, starting your business, and you don't have to pay anything. And, I know sometimes like, oh, I don't know if to believe them, or,
Mhm.
it's very scary because there's scammers out there, but that's why it's very important for like to do the research and reach out to community support. And if you have an idea, don't give up. Like, freaking, like, do it. You never know, might take off. Like, if we get inspired by Nike, how they did it, like even Amazon, and I don't want to promote them, but how he started, like all of them started from the bottom. They had a dream. And that's what we need to do. We need to be entrepreneurs porque nuestra gente tiene que avanzar que ellos. Nosotros
Mhm.
tenemos que seguir la lucha y, si todo se puede en esta vida. So, and also before, I also have some inspiration stickers, like this one. Let me show you. This one, if you can see it.
Oh, yeah. No
This
te
one.
dejes, nunca te rindas, lucha, ponte trucha. I love it.
I feel like my dad saying this, but and creció ese chingona con mamá. And
Oh.
like any little thing, like someone from work, because I also have a normal job. Like I work as an airline agent. And by the way, I was the first 7 women to open the airline. I can't say my
Oh,
name
wow.
because then everybody's like, your airline. Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, I was the first 7 to open the airline, and I've been there for 16 years. And
Wow.
I never thought of like being there, but like all of us, we have a job, like a regular job, and at the same time we work on our dreams. So I feel like we should continue that until we make our dream come true. And you never know where it might take off. And I always tell one of my coworkers, like she had an idea and she's like, I don't know how to start. I'm like, if you want to be a fashion designer, like build some dresses, take pictures. We now have Instagram because where I come from, it was just MySpace. And we have Instagram, we have TikTok, and I'm learning the all the new ways. And like, I told her, if you want a model, I'm here. I'm all for it, supporting you. So I find I'll have a lot of great friends that like support me, and can be my model and been supporting me. So, and that's why I'm saying, oh, especially also Latina Festival's coming on June 1st. So I always tell everybody, go there. If you're not even a vendor, just go there, because you meet all these community, all these women that are coming from different angles, and you never know what might inspire you, or who you meet, and that can help you out. So just be there. You'll feel the whole magic and vibe, like woman empowerment, I guarantee you.
I love it. Yeah, you have to put yourself out there sometimes and just be in community. And I like what you said about sometimes you don't know like what comes knocking on your door. Sometimes it's when you least expect it. But if you're present and engaging in those different like spaces, then there's more opportunity for you, right? So thank you for those words of wisdom. They were very beautiful. Is there anything else? We're kind of closing down our interview here, but I wanted to ask if there was anything else that you wanted to say or share. Maybe you didn't get a chance to say or share through the questions. Or this is also a good time to put a plug in for your business and tell folks where to find you.
Okay, so I have a lot of cheese. Just kidding. First, you can find me at MayCrazyLifestyle.com. That's my website. And then our IG is May_crazy lifestyle. And then also I have a personal blog, so you get to know my story more in a personal level.
I
And
love it.
I'm also doing like a workshop. Well, it's not a workshop. It's like I'm gonna be a vendor at a workshop uh in the yoga cope on May
Mm.
18th. Yay! Yeah, I link with different community members, so it's kind of like, hey, it's at the yoga cope, and uh
Yeah, I
so
love it.
cool. And then as well, Latina Festival June 1st. We're gonna also do some giveaways, so make sure you follow us to get that free ticket, and you never know. Like I said, you might even meet the love of your life there. Anything is possible, or your next investor, never know.
Yeah.
So, and then I always, I want to say that I want to end up with a saying like, we bottle up everything inside, and it isn't healthy for us to keep everything in. I use my pain into power, and that's why I decided to design these shirts with messages of empowerment to never give up on yourself, to be yourself, love yourself, fight for your dreams, be your own hero, and never let anything dim your lights, and always be a guerrera poderosa.
Oh, I love that. That's such a beautiful way to end this conversation. Maida, thank you so much for this. This was exactly what I needed today. And I'm sure that as people are listening to this interview, it's going to be exactly what they needed at the right time with your beautiful message and your constant, like just a constant inspiration throughout this conversation has been really uplifting. So thank you for being who you are. Thank you for taking the chance and sharing your gift and your message with the world. It's definitely something that we need, and we're so thankful for you. So thank you, Maida, for this time.
Thank you
Um,
so much, Rocio, for like inviting me and doing the interview with me. And also, as well, if you want some like you want to try hiking, I'm here for it to hike with you. Anybody who wants hiking, add me. I'm your hiking buddy.
Love it. Everyone, make sure to follow Maida and her business and support her. You're going to find a beautiful community. It's going to change you and your world in a very positive way. So make sure you follow her and support her. And we thank you all for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing you next time. So, adios, everybody.
Bye. Gracias.